Right, Councillor Lister, please.
Congratulations, Jeanette, because I know that the work you do has a real impact. I've seen firsthand. I know the work with inclusion is amazing, and thank you. And my comments are kind of slightly removed from that at the bigger picture, because we have to stop talking about issues like attendance and exclusion with such disconnect from the budgetary pressures that schools are facing. The problems outlined in this report, they're not new, and they're not just a result of COVID either. The systematic underfunding of schools began in the austerity years, and it's just been made worse by 3 consecutive years of council cuts. And now we're seeing the predictable consequences: reduced curriculum options, particularly in alternative provision, growing levels of exclusion, disengagement, and persistent absence. And schools are expected to manage these complex needs with far fewer staff and far fewer resources. It's unsustainable. Children are reduced to numbers in larger classes with limited personal attention. And we all know the children that struggle in school need time and they need kindness. And that's a real shortage in schools, the way that they are operating. And the result then is falling self-esteem, poor engagement, and ultimately a higher risk of those pupils disconnecting from their education entirely. And this report, as brilliant as some of the case studies are, it focuses entirely on managing the consequences, but attendance and exclusions are not consequences to manage. They are symptoms of a system that is under strain, and that the solutions need to be preventative and not just responsive. What's also missing from this report is any acknowledgement that we, as a council, have played a part in making things worse. Cuts to school budgets weren't made in isolation, and they have consequences, and these are consequences. The crisis in engagement, in behaviour, and in attendance didn't just happen. We helped create these conditions. It costs more to fail a child than it does to support them properly in the first place. And whether that cost comes through education out of school, youth justice, or social care, or long-term exclusion, it's a price that we're already paying, and it's going to continue to rise until we sort this out. So I want to amend the recommendations. I want to add to the first recommendation that a future report outlining how resource levels, curriculum breadth, and school funding affects attendance and exclusions, and what preventative strategies, including investment in teaching and learning, are needed to reduce disengagement. And then furthermore, a second recommendation that the Cabinet be asked to consider and report a risk management strategy of the long-term financial consequences of underfunding schools, including the rising costs of education out of school, exclusion, and youth disengagement. We can't afford to keep underfunding the front line and then acting surprised when everything downstream gets more expensive. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Lister. I think you might have to repeat the amendment, or Kerry wasn't able to write it out.